Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Tonight we have on Bobby. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in,
Bobby
hanging
is
on.
hanging on. Bobby is from the mighty Pentagram. He's had a very lengthy career. Your band's been around almost as long as I've been alive. You got 1 year on me.
50 years this year. Yeah.
That is impressive. That is impressive.
It'll be 51 years, really, in 22.
See, I'm 51. So here's the thing. Like I knew about you in high school when you're like 85. That first one came out, right? It was the I have to look now actually Pentagram album, right?
Yeah, it was self-titled. Yeah.
First heard that because obviously high school metal, Sabbathy, and you look at all those bands.
Mhm.
And then I heard some of your stuff over the years, listened to it on and off through whatever the media and records and stuff.
Right.
Then you had the documentary that kind of brought you back into the world again,
hmm
and it did pretty well. It helped
The
you out a lot.
documentary did really, really well. Yeah, it won a lot of awards and stuff, which I was shocked at. I didn't expect awards. I wouldn't even let them film it unless they filmed it real, 100%. So I left in all the doping stuff, in the old days and all of that kind of shit.
It made me uncomfortable. I'll be honest with you. I felt bad. I was like, I felt like I was watching a train wreck.
Yeah, because everybody figured, well, when they're first watching it, they know the guy's going to die at the end, and he didn't.
Well, I knew you weren't gonna. It was hard to watch with your the support.
It's
and
hard for me to watch. I cry. I cry when I watch certain segments of it. It's pretty pathetic.
It's got a good happy ending, and you continue on doing music, and you have a child now. It's really good stuff. So, two questions related to that. Just on a side note, you said at one point you were doing like $500 a day.
I was doing more than that.
Where the heck did you get that kind of money?
When I was shooting heroin. A lot of it came from my folks, and a lot of my mom was my big enabler. May she rest in peace. And just all the junky hustles that you do. Ripping off stores.
I just wish I could afford to have it. I wouldn't want to do it. I just wish I could afford $500 a day.
Well, I had a girlfriend many years ago. She died back in 2001, and she used to hit doctors.
Okay.
So we supported the habit a lot, doing Dilaudid.
I was just kind of curious. I'm sorry if it was even private. So
no, it's not too private.
It was interesting actually because
my world's an open book.
And the other thing I had that they focused on, but then it didn't have your closure on. You were freaking out. You thought you had parasites, and it was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was.
How did you recover from that?
Well, when I quit.
And then you didn't feel it anymore. There wasn't like the psychosis part went just kind of.
Yeah. I think it could have been psychosomatic, and there was also a lot of stuff. I was grungy all the time and not taking care of myself too. So you see a speck of dirt, you think it's a bug.
I was just curious because it's like, wow, that just because it didn't go away with it. Well, you look great now, so this is good.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
So let's talk about some of the albums when you guys first came out, because so you started out, you're a heavy metal band from the 70s. We cleared, not a doom band, not a stoner band, heavy metal from the 70s. Took you many years of clubbing and different lineups. You've had a lot of, but nowadays a lot of bands have huge histories of lineups.
I point that out to people all the time. They think like, well, Bobby, you must have been awful hard to deal with and stuff like that, like it says in the documentary and all that. And I wasn't hard to get along with, and it wasn't the drugs. It was that we never had a manager, a promoter, a label, any backing. We had no guidance. So that's why we really didn't get anywhere for years and years. We were just kind of struggling along on our own.
Well, I could see, if you weren't showing up for events, that could be a stressful thing for being. But I'd also like to say the caveat of in one of the parts, actually in the documentary, and I'm not going to keep hitting it. I don't remember who it was. The guitar player said, if you hadn't ruined that one day, who knows where you guys would have been.
Maury Krugman said that.
And I'm not slagging him, but I think the problem is it's a coulda, shoulda, woulda, because how many bands have had a million different albums, had a million different things? One person says
members.
Right. It could have changed. You could have had the album, then a week later, they get a new president. There's a reshuffling. They don't. You're stuck on a label and you do 10 albums and they just shelve them and you can't do anything. There's a lot of things that go on because something like that.
2020.
Right.
Right.
So I would think at this point, when I'm hearing it, I was like, well, you kind of look at the music history of all the behind the music. You would think at that point,
Yeah, I mean, so, there were probably 30, 40 people throughout the years, come and gone and Pentagram and stuff like that. But there were mainstays along the way too that were in there for very many years and set
Yeah,
the foundation. And then we went through the death row era, blah, 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 and so forth. And, we had a lot of stability too.
you did. And yeah, like you said, a lot of the modern bands nowadays from the 80s have had a lot of people going in and out, a couple core members.
Sure. Yeah, it happens. I mean, you're working with, it's like in a family. People up and leave, they move out, the kids move out, they move back in, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's like 50 years of working with 40 people. It's not bad. You find a job that you're at for 50 years and you don't have that many employees in and out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So the album came out. You guys had some success, but I'll be honest with you. If we kind of go through some of these albums, like what happens, like because did you have some support at first off that first album, and then kind of peter off, or what?
Well, no, the first album was kind of just released. Originally, it was released by a small New York company, and we had distribution by a larger distributor, Dutch East, but they weren't real big.
Right.
We didn't have any promotion for the first album initially when it was released. It wasn't until Peaceville bought the rights in I believe it was 91 or so, and re-released all the stuff. They re-released the first album and Their Reckoning, and then we did Be Forewarned. We first started getting notoriety. And plus we hadn't played a lot of gigs in the original band, and or in Death Row at the beginning, the Death Row era.
Yeah.
We didn't have the support, huh? We're the underdog, I guess.
If you think about all the mishaps you guys have had, the fact that you're such a cult following after all the different things that
it's pretty wild, man. It's bizarre. When I look back at it nowadays, I wouldn't trade my life for anything. It's been pretty interesting along the way. Yeah.
Well, you've had a lot of cultural backgrounds too, like history too, with a lot of the people in the city, and a lot of the artists that aren't around anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, Pentagram only has Jeff O'Keefe, the original drummer, and myself are the only two that are left from Pentagram, too. The other five, we've had 5 or 6 guys die along the way.
And who would have thought you would have outlasted all of them, huh?
Exactly.
Put the money on you.
I was the guy in high school that was likely to die by 30 for sure.
You would have been the dark horse. Somebody would have had a lot of money if they put the pool on you, man.
Oh yes, I was the long shot. Yes, of all of them.
And here we are.
Yeah, and here we are. Yeah.
So let's talk about. So actually, now I'm looking. You're just being distributed by Peaceville again. Is that correct? Or the last album?
The last album was. We're not under contract to any record company right now.
So where are you at now with it? Like.
Right now, we have the members Pete Campbell on drums, still Matt Goldsborough's on guitar. He's been back with us for 3 years. He was also in Pentagram in 13 and in 15 when Victor couldn't do certain things, certain obligations and personal things. And we have Greg Turley, of course. Victor's nephew is the bass player, and he's been with me since really 93.
Oh, wow.
95, yeah. So he's a long-standing member. Pete's been in the band now for 7, 8 years, and Matt's been a back permanent member, for 3.5. So, we're not under contract to anyone, and we're planning on trying to record a new studio album finally in the spring because it's a little bit overdue.
Now, are you going to try doing it yourself and distributing it, and then maybe finding somebody to help distribute it? But like you guys take control of it this time, maybe?
I don't think so. Bands are really into that nowadays.
Well, that's why I'm asking. It feels like it's the new model.
Yeah. The new thing is to, record your album yourself, which we will probably record it ourselves this time because Greg's gotten pretty adept at engineering and doing us. And we like to record in the basement we rehearse in because it's more comfortable, of course. And we probably will do that and do the recording ourselves, but then try to shop the product, I would think. Because I'm sure there's going to be companies that'll be interested in us. Hell, after all the track record now, we are kind of track tested a little bit now. And, but we're not under any kind of contract at all, so.
That's crazy.
I think we'll shop it because people forget one big thing about it. That no matter how much bands say, well, yeah, and I uploaded it myself and I did it with such and such. And, you can find it all on YouTube and so forth and so on. But without the big guns marketing, advertising, That's, how do people, they'll say, well, yeah, and it's up there. Well, how do you know it's up there? The way that you got to market it is what the technical stuff comes in, where you need the big boys backing you up, because they make sure so-and-so's got a new album out and you can find it here, there, and everywhere, and so forth, and that's why I don't think it's a winning formula necessarily to put it up there yourself and put it all out yourself, because people, we put it out and we distribute it worldwide. How does anybody know?
Generally, you work with your families. I would say, and I'm going to do devil's advocate on this because I don't think there's, I don't know there's a right way.
Right. Well, there isn't. There's just, your way and their way.
Well, yeah, but like when people do it themselves, with them taking control, they're getting a bigger profit themselves. So they're selling to less people, and they already have a built-in audience. At this point, people know who you are. You have your fans. You have your media. It's more like hiring a media team to promote it than needing to use.
Because
record labels are like a bank at the time. You know what I mean?
Yes, they are. They really are. They push the product, and they have the bigger connects. I mean, people that distribute it themselves, of course, they get 90% or whatever of the profit plus. And you only get, generally, you'll get 18% on your royalties from the company and that kind of thing. But people don't know the thing is there. You say, well, they've got their following and so forth and so on. But you got to remember, when you're on Instagram and Facebook, it doesn't go out to everyone. It goes out to your friends and your Facebook friends and so forth. How many people is that going to be out of the world?
No, I agree. Yeah, so it really depends. I don't think it's hard because I think also because you guys are more of a niche band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're not the rock stars.
No, I mean
I'm maybe almost famous.
I'm saying you're not like the Justin Biebers of the world and that kind of thing. That's where
we don't have the mass selling ability and stuff like that. Sure.
No rock bands do though, really, at this point, pretty much.
Not too much. No, very few. Very few.
You like the Stones and and Aerosmith. They do that.
You have a few rock bands. If you're the Guns N' Roses, if you're Zakk Wylde, if you're somebody who's played with the big boys, then you've got the selling ability, but not necessarily. So no.
So when you were talking, you write songs. How are you writing songs? Do you play guitar at all?
Yeah, I played guitar for about 60 years. 60 years of guitar and bass.
Only because you don't.
I write my songs.
Playing.
I write my songs with guitar. Yeah.
You do? Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah. And then and sometimes people always say, "Is there a formula?" Right, which you're maybe going to ask.
No.
Feed that back, but I'll feed myself the question, right? No, but it depends. Sometimes I'll have a lick come to me. Sometimes I'll have a chord thing that will sound sad. Sometimes I'll have lyrics first, and I'll want to apply them to a structure I can fit them in. So it's both ways. And nowadays I tend to write more just lyrics because I don't play guitar proficiently. I never have. That's why I don't play in the band. After all those years, and guitar lessons and stuff, I don't have the dexterity. And now I've got arthritic hands, getting old. No, I'm just
where?
Yeah, I can do it, but
we'll push you out in your wheelchair. We'll put your guitar in your lap, push your wheelchair out on the stage. Okay.
There you go. Hey, Leslie West did it.
That's right. If he can do it, anybody can do it.
A buddy of mine. Leslie was a good friend of mine and a great musician. Yeah. Sorry to have lost him too. And he played with one leg left and in the wheelchair and was still touring at the end.
Can you imagine that? Like,
that's some heavy shit there.
So you can get up, and you guys been in pain just all day long just to do that. I mean,
all the time. I've got from all the years of abusing myself and all the scars, which you can probably see them on YouTube. It's just it gets hard, man. Your joints get old. People always tell me about, they're supposed to be your golden years. I always call them your 10 years because you start losing your hair, nothing works. You're falling apart. You wake up in the morning, oh, my back, and that kind of shit. And it becomes a pain in the ass overall. It's hard, man. Touring is hard. Touring is very, very hard now. When we tour,
even now, you touring now has got to be a challenge, right?
We toured in 19 was the last time I worked, and except for the Limit album, which I'll get to in a little while. But we toured in 19, and it was really rough on me. You know, I'd wake up with all the aches and pains and everything every morning, you know, and lose some more of this.
You know, the thing is, and back with the guitar thing, I was going to ask you a formula, but the thing is, I'd never seen you with it. I know you've talked about writing songs. And so it's interesting when someone says they write songs, but if you don't play guitar, you're writing melodies. I don't know if you just come up with melodies and go on a guitar player like with that, or if you actually were cowboy chording it out. So that's kind of interesting.
Give me 2 seconds. I mean, just 1 second. 1 second.
Yep.
Quick. I'm still on the air. I'm still here. No, my buddy for a gift bought me a left-handed, because I'm a lefty, a left-handed Michael Schenker model Flying V.
Oh,
You can see it there. Gorgeous. A Dean V. Right. And I play that, you know, pretty religiously. I practice, you know. I can't do it right, but I still practice. And I still have the ideas. I'm not addled, thank goodness. And you would think through all the doping that I'd be a vegetable. But no, you know.
well, the bar has been raised though, right? For musicians. Remember when we were younger? Like, you thought, oh my God, you know, at 50, 60, the career's over. You're going to be in Vegas. You're going to be doing lounge music if you want to perform. Right?
Yeah.
And where does Mick Jagger? Mick Jagger's 78.
Still up there shaking his rear end too.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, the bar,
76.
and you want to talk about, you know, doing excess, Keith Richards,
The bar is as high as you can pull.
you know,
And you set your own bar after a while.
Keith has set the bar for everybody in drugs.
Yeah, I mean, if Keith's still here, then I can be here. Damn it, he's walking dead, and God bless him, he's still here.
He's still playing, so it's good for him.
Yeah, he's still playing,
That's awesome,
and they're still packing every place.
which is incredible, even after
Yeah,
Turley.
you don't see Rolling Stones have gone back to clubbing. Not gonna happen, baby. You know.
I'd pay to see that in a club. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, hell yes. You know, and get up close and got the cozy atmosphere and stuff. Yeah. Like my favorite band of all time is Wishbone Ash. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And Wishbone Ash had been together for 51 years too. And the last time I saw them at a place in Baltimore, and it only held 178 seated at tables. And it was
That's nice.
really cool. It was a cozy atmosphere. I mean, they still play for 100,000 in festivals and stuff like that. But it was so nice to see them in that, you know, that real cozy, comfortable little setting. You know, it was intimate. Very.
You know, it's hard. 'Cause I always feel like you want the band you like to have a big audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
But selfishly,
Yeah.
you want to see them in a small club.
Yes, exactly. People always say, you know, what do you like better? I love that intimate, small club feel, and to be able to look out and see in the person's eyeballs, you know, out in front of the stage. Nevertheless, you still get the ego and the power feed and the whole thing off of God damn.
I thought you were gonna say I love the big check, and then I love the small club. But
Yeah, the paycheck is different, and when you go to the big ones, but it's really fun to play the big ones to me. Those are the ones that I happen to like, even though I love the intimacy too. You know, because I get to meet people backstage and stuff like that, and still fans that persist. Like I was a fanboy growing up, totally. I still am for my idols. I mean, when we played at Hellfest in 2012,
yeah,
had to eat. I ate with Zakk Wylde, and then I went up and talked to Michael Schenker and got pictures. You know, me with them. And that was a big deal to me. I'm still like a little kid in a candy store with my idols, man. I respect these people. God damn, they you know, turned my life around.
and it surprised you they know who you were, right? You're like, you don't think of yourself that way?
Some of them did. You know, a few of them did.
The big ones did.
Not. Yeah, I guess a lot of them do. You know, hopefully, right?
You get a lot of props. I mean, even the documentary with was it Jim Bauer and you know and Phil. I mean, a lot of the guys
Yeah.
that know their metal. You know,
Yeah, if you know your heavy music, then I guess you would know.
yeah, you know, you earned your stripes, which is really kind of cool.
Thanks.
What is the what's one of the best bands you've played with though? Just I don't usually ask this question, but because you're so diverse, and it might not be a heavy metal band.
You mean like big bands, like big major groups, like?
Well, I don't mean like big band like Frank Sinatra. No, I mean like just like fun. Like it could be band like a Wishbone Ash. Like so, what's one of your funnest bands you played with? Just
When Pentagram toured with Bang, opening for us.
okay.
Bang were from '71, and Frank
Yeah.
Farrar and Frank Gilkin, they're great people, fantastic people. We had a hell of a fun tour with them, just all around the United States. And
That's
they
cool.
were an awful lot of fun. And they never got their day in the sun either. And they played with the big boys. I mean, the major big boy. They opened for Kiss and stuff like that, and they never got their due. So
Feels like everybody has first some time with Kiss in the 70s.
yeah, yeah. Look in the documentary, they came over,
I
Paul
know.
and Gene came over to see us in the little house we practiced in. God damn. Yeah, I was floored by that kind of stuff.
So that they were still wearing makeup then.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. That
So
was
how
pretty early.
yeah, so how they approach coming in with their makeup where they're like, no pictures, don't say anything.
No pictures, for real. And, because they were very well handled.
Yeah.
And the people knew how to, do it the right way. They were very stoic and very just observant. And it's kind of like, a lot of us musicians, we do this. When
Oh,
you
the
go
arm
to watch
cross.
a band, you stand up in the front and you just kind of fold your arms and you just kind of look and you don't make an expression. And I can't help it though. I get like, yeah, go on, man, yeah, do that. I get excited, but they were stoic. And like he says in the film, they didn't like, I had bad skin, bass player had bad skin, the drummer's too fat, the guitar player just stands still. But you know what? They did do it right, so I can't knock them. They gave the all-encompassing circus, carnival, amusement park to everybody in every sense of the word, with the Vegas look and the
Yeah.
whole show.
But here's the thing, back then though, it was like, remember Christopher Cross, and he was huge on the radio, but then video didn't translate so well for him. And he wasn't like a monster or anything. He just wasn't a pretty boy. So
Right.
this was in the 70s. So it was a radio time. A lot of bands didn't have to be, you know, looking like
Yeah,
supermodels.
but live, you still had to have. I'm funny about that. See, I consider myself an entertainer first more than anything else. I'm not just a singer or a writer or that. I'm an entertainer. And when people pay to go see something, that's the key word, to see something. They want to see something. I can't stand when I go watch. There's so many million bands now that come on with the backwards baseball hat, the football jersey, the tennis shoes, and the cutoffs. And there's nothing to look at. So if I want to hear the music, I can play the music. But if I want to go see them, I want to have a presentation of entertainment.
I get
So
that.
I can't jump around anymore like I used to and get all crazy, but I hold my own and I still want to give them something that they won't forget seeing. That's
Fair enough.
basically
Fair enough.
my viewpoint about that. Yeah.
How are you keeping your voice in shape at this point? How are you still singing as well?
I'm not. I smoke almost a pack a day of these, and you know, uh, my voice is out of shape right now. And I have to go to. I can't disclose the information about it, but I have to go do a brand new album in 2 weeks in North Carolina, and it's gonna take a little. I wake up with the phlegm every day, and the cobwebs
Stay away from your
in my
milk.
throat.
Keep away from dairy.
Yeah,
That's the worst.
I
Probably
drink a
worse.
lot of water.
Yeah.
I drink a hell of a lot of water. Yeah, when I drink a lot of milk, it clots your
I couldn't.
clogs up in your it clogs your throat up real badly. Yeah, and I love chocolate milk. I still love my chocolate milk. Right. So I have
That's an
thing.
addiction you're allowed to have. That's it. That's all I'm going to give you.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Hey, I've been sober for a while now, a few years coming.
Good.
Completely. I don't mess with anything.
Totally clean. No drinking. No soft stuff. 'Cause I know some people.
Well, I've never been a drinker as such. I've only drank socially, and that's on occasion, rare occasion. The drugging, no, I can't smoke pot because it chokes me to death. My COPD is so bad, and that's another thing that I can never understand, except for the guy upstairs and adrenaline are the two factors that allow me to get up on stage for an hour and 15 minutes and still do my thing, in quotes, because otherwise I walk up 3 or 4 steps and I'm completely winded.
That's
3
crazy.
or 4 steps, I mean.
Well,
And
in
I can't
fairness,
breathe.
you've probably done more drugs than a lot of people. You've done all the drugs for a lot of people, so
Yes, I've done everybody else's drugs. Yes,
So we can
done
be
it
out there
over all of us. Yes, I have.
enjoying it
You
these
know.
last couple of years, being
Yeah,
healthy.
exactly. Exactly. I'm in the twilight, man. Give me a break, right? Fuck it. you know,
Maybe chocolate milk and some cigarettes. All right. That's it, though. That's where I'm drawing the line.
that's about it.
No, but
Occasionally I have to take a muscle relaxer, cyclobenzaprine or Flexeril, as it were. But I'm afraid. I'm afraid of narcotics now. Very badly afraid of them because I remember the hells I've gone through kicking, and how many times and so forth and so on, and seen so many people go down from it. But that's a side factor. You know, you live, you have your fun, you do your thing, and when your number's up, you get called. Right. But I try to stay away from the shit. That's all. I'm afraid of getting addicted.
You have no control over it. You cannot control it. I mean, it's out there.
I can't. I can't.
You can't have it once. You can't have a drop of any of that. You just can't. There's no dabbling for you.
Yeah, I have to stay away. But I've had my falls, but
you get back up.
Yeah, you get back up. Exactly.
That's what you do.
Fall off the bike, get on the bike.
Right.
That's the only way to conquer it. And I'm very, very fearful though of anything that's highly addictive. Narcotics and cocaine's not addictive, but I smoked crack for 40 years too, and with that, it was so bad wanting that you need it. There, i.e., addiction.
Although those are the good drugs if you want your body to look good, though, right? It's not like you're drinking alcohol and bloating up, or a cheeseburger.
Yeah, right. The heroin was preserving me. Right?
Yeah. How does he stay so thin? It's like a supermodel. Really? 3 crackers a day and an olive. Wow.
Not anymore. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah, that's got to be the challenges now, just to kind of stay healthy and get up every day on your own. That's enough.
Yeah, exactly. I get up, I have my real strong cup of coffee. I don't even allow myself to drink a second cup of coffee. I'm afraid of anything that makes you feel kind of too. If you feel a little altered and you get out there, it's easy to climb back on the wrong horse in the stable.
Well, you've been so lucky with all the times you've fallen and that the band's still there. You still can have a career. I mean, I don't know many people that would still have a career.
Yeah.
In any profession,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, I'm thankful for that, man.
I mean, your rock and roll is a lot more forgiving for drugs. Let's be honest. It's not like you're a doctor or anything. Where
Right.
But even at this point, even rock and roll,
they have an easier time getting it, at least, right?
You would. It's funny. Yeah. With rock and roll,
it's not costly.
The new thing is now is like the responsibility. The good musicians get hired are the ones that show up, that are on time, that are hard workers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the new.
I had a reputation. They gave me that reputation also for not showing up at gigs. My guys in the band point out, well, I'm just going to show up. I've missed in my entire career. I've missed 3 gigs that I can recall. That's it, and I've probably played 5,000.
Are you including the one in the documentary?
Yeah, both of them in the documentary.
At the end of that, you're like, "Oh, come on, show up! We want you to win." Because it becomes a human story.
It does, yeah,
and that's why I did so well.
It's a blabbermouth story and a metal suck story, and everybody else too. But
But there are people outside that world also that it becomes a story where people that may not know Pentagram, may not care. There could be other types of music fans,
Right.
Everybody doesn't have to like every kind of music, but the point is, I mean, it's still a story of a struggle, family, success, failure, someone believing in you, someone really laying it out there, and that's what all TV is about nowadays too, It's like, when the...
And reality shows are the big thing nowadays.
Right.
They didn't have a reality show back then. Everything was dummied reality, right? I look at the quiz shows in the 50s. Yeah, the $64,000 question, rigged. Everything was rigged.
That's right, they're rigged. We didn't even know it then.
Right.
So yeah, the only you've been pretty quiet on video out there as the kids would say, the YouTubes, but except for a couple of things here and there, and you just did, and we were talking. I had spoken to Wino. You did a little clip for Wino.
Yes, I did a little clip. Yeah, and I'm wondering when the damn documentary is going to come out, because that was a lot of fun.
I don't know. I don't know. But when I was talking to him, I'm like, oh, you know what? I do have to talk to Bobby. I got to, led me on my journey to
Yeah,
speak to you.
I was the first person he interviewed.
Yeah, he's got a
You
couple
know,
in there. I think he's got some more to do. He's got a lot more to shoot, I think.
yeah. Well, Wino stays. Scotty stays on the road all the time, and not necessarily playing, but traveling too all the time. Him and his lady. And they
Because he's got
travel
his
all over.
bikes, and he's got
Yeah, his bike is this thing now, more and more.
his art,
And
the documentary,
mhm.
and his
Yeah,
solo
the wino art.
project.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
busy
yeah. He
dude.
left me a really cool little picture when he came over here last time. Yeah, it was about 2 years now. I told him stop being a stranger, man, because Wino and I were supposed to record together about 4 different occasions now, and it never happened. You know,
That was actually
it was
going to be
just
one of
one
the
of those.
questions. How did that not happen by now?
It was just one of those. Let's do this. Let's do. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. And then it kind of flaked off into existence.
You guys got to push it. You can't be like, well, let's just wait. You got to like say, this is the date. We're going to do it. Come on over. Let's just do
I
this.
know.
You
I
know,
know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the latest thing that I recorded and had released was The Limit with punk legend Sonny Vincent, Jimmy Wrecker from the Stooges, the two
wow.
guys from Dawn Rider, and that came out April this year. It was recorded 2 weeks before the pandemic in Portugal, but The Limit was going to be the name of the band with Sarah from Daughter Chaos
Hmm.
and Wino and myself in 15, and I kept it in my pocket. I said, I love that name, man. I want to use that name someday. So finally, when Sonny and I got together in 2020, it was like, yeah, let's call it The Limit. Because that's
Man.
got no limits, and we use it.
Because you get invited on some albums, right? People want you to jam, and you're always getting invited when they're around because you got your
They,
status
they,
of.
yeah, they invite me to do recordings and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't have any remote facility or anything like that. And they always, well, can you put the vocals on for me on such and such? I don't know how.
You're like, let me get my cassette player out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, how in the hell do I do that?
I got to run on a Radio Shack. My
Last time,
microphone's not working.
yeah, the last time Sarah was over here, she recorded. There's a guy, Stonehand McDoomfoot. He calls himself. I'll plug that on Instagram. The buddy of mine, Morgan from Brooklyn, and he's only 32 now, I think. And we did a cover of "On with the Action" by UFO, and she recorded my vocals over here in the living room, where I'm living, and that was a lot of fun. Man.
It's pretty easy. You get somebody can come over the computer and some mics, and you can kind of do
Yeah,
a pretty
yeah,
decent
they
job.
can.
You can't do everything that's not studio. I'm not that guy either. I think you can find a mix, you know, in a pinch. You can't do drums ever. You had to be in a studio for drums.
Exactly. You need that. Even that Apple computer thing doesn't. It's fake.
You can't.
Now they've got the samples though of all the famous drummers. That's
Yeah.
the newest, the program thing. I haven't heard that, but I want Carmen Appice on mine. Damn it.
I don't know. I think I guess it'd be fun, but I like the idea of a live drummer in a live room and a live sound, a warm sound. I like the mics moving. You can do guitars and you can do everything else pretty much on a computer, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, you
drums
can
to me,
but the fun, the spontaneity of the whole thing is different when you're in the studio and
and it's also, but yeah, if your band can be live recording in a studio, and that's
Yeah,
important.
we recorded when we did the Limit album. We did the rhythms, bass, and drums all at a studio, at the same studio, and then we recorded all the vocals and we had all the basic rhythm tracks. But then the pandemic hit. I had to come back here. We got Fabian D. Dahmers from Udo, who's a smashing big artist, man,
Yeah.
and he worked with Sonny many years back, and we got him to put about 9 of the leads on the 12 songs. And we had to mix the whole thing remote from the States to Portugal, up and back and up and back and up and back. Pain in the ass.
Oh,
I
so
wish I knew how to do it all. I did. Because if I did,
yeah.
this is the honest to God's truth. If I really did and could get the drums, down pat properly, I would have 5 more albums out now, solo albums. Because I constantly have ideas running through my head and I can't commit them to tape.
Well, that's the other thing. You haven't done anything side stuff like having other artists come in and play and done a couple solo stuff. You've always been Pentagram. I mean, you're the only guy who's been always in Pentagram.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, technically, but Pentagram was also the sound of a guitarist, and you've had other guitarists, different ones. So it's given a good flavor. So it really hasn't changed because you have a vision. You know,
Yeah, well, it did get
you have a metric,
yeah, I had a vision in the beginning, and I kept true to that.
right?
And I'm really committed still to doing that. The next Pentagram album, I hope to write at least half the album, and I'm hoping the other guys, they want to contribute, of course, which I'm totally open to. And from working with Sonny Vincent, he was a leader of his whole situation and always was. You see all these albums come out. There's like 20, he has like 28 or 30 albums out there, all
Hmm.
Sonny Vincent and so, and he always called all the shots. Well, I always called the shots in Pentagram, but we kind of, for the first time, I learned much more student like and giving, to take a back seat and open to suggestions of this is and that's. And we kind of had a real collaboration on the mixing and the production on that album. So it became really good. Yeah,
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it stays, but you still always stuck to that sound. And the thing is, I'm like,
yeah, Pentagram did. Yeah.
right. So my thought is like, you're like, well, I like you have that Pentagram sound, but so you're like, I wouldn't do this song with Pentagram, but I might take a left turn and do this song. But it's not a Pentagram song. You must have songs like that you just like, yeah, it's Pentagram, but I really like it. I want to do it.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I would have had solo albums, because I would have had a place to put those
Right.
those other children. People think of them as stuck kids, maybe, but they're still my babies, man. And I'm committed to that too. I have acoustic songs too. You know, on the old Stone Bunny stuff, which is 69, 70, pre-Pentagram kind of thing.
Thought you didn't like. I thought that you like people referring to Stone Bunny because it's a joke, and you don't like when people say Stone Bunny.
I don't. Yeah, I said it is a joke. I did. I
I
said,
know, but you brought it
hey,
up.
let's call it Stone Bunny. Ha 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 ha, like a stupid name. And they said, yeah, oh boy. Oh my God. Stuck my foot in my mouth on that. But it's history now.
It
And there's a
is.
couple songs on there that are completely acoustic songs where I play the acoustic and the electric part with it and stuff like
Well,
that.
I think you need to do something with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hopefully.
You're not Betty White. You're not gonna live to
No,
99.
I'm not gonna. That's right. My mom, God bless her, she lived to 90. My dad lived to 96. And yeah, so I've got good genes. They're Lee or Levi, one or the other. I don't know which, but probably.
Dungarees.
But yeah, right. Whatever the new brands are, and I hopefully I'll make my 70s.
You
If I get to 75, it'll be a hell of an accomplishment to me.
Well, I think this is a time you should probably think about how you're gonna do that. How you're gonna record some of that stuff. You gotta put it down, man.
Yeah, I know. I
You
know.
can't not do it. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I do. That's my offering. Is my call in life is to make people happy through the
right?
artistic.
But you need to release those other songs yourself, those solo ones on the side, just for you. It's not even about the money. It's about you just some version of recording it somehow to get it out of your system,
Yeah,
so you can complete something. It's a vision outside of you, and I think fans would like that too. You know,
yeah. I'm sure they would.
you
You
know,
know.
the fans. I know there's people that
And
will.
now it would sell. No, it's not really.
I
It's
know there are people
personal.
that are watching
It's a
at home.
personal thing. It's very
Yeah, I know.
personal.
But people always have a complaint or a dig or something. But the fans, it's you talking who's the fans. They know who they are. It's the quiet ones. It's usually the quiet ones. It's the 10 loud ones that are very loud in the group.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So I hope
at this point, so roughly, hopefully, when this COVID's over, you're going to be doing some recording of Pentagram besides the other band. So you're thinking maybe you guys can try. Hopefully, I don't know, man. It's got this new thing going on, the Vibrant. So maybe I don't know. You can think maybe the summertime or something. You guys might be able to
Well, I'm hoping in the spring that we can do the new Pentagram album.
better.
Like really in March, April, because we don't have anything. We have 4 tours lined up for 22. They're Europe, Scandinavia, South America, and some UK. And we don't have anything in the States, though. So if we don't get around to chalking in something for April or so in the United States, I'm hoping we can get in there and do a new freaking album.
Well, Europe's a lot more loyal
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
it comes to
I
that.
talk about that. And it ends up speaking about that in every interview that I've done. Like the European fans, they just appreciate the performing arts much more over there.
Mhm.
It seems like.
A lot of the bands from the 80s too. Pop bands
Yeah.
are over. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
good. It's loyal.
It is. It is true to your
So
school. Yeah.
it's the way to go. Who are you touring? Can you share with who you're touring with in 2022 or no?
I'm not sure. I'm
Okay,
not sure yet.
cool.
It's good. There are few
That's fine.
various other bands.
That's fine.
You know.
All right, man. Well, I want to thank you for coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
This has been great.